Hey, good Tuesday morning, everybody. It's a gorgeous morning here in Surfside, California. In fact, I think you're going to see a fisherman, a surf fisherman, walk into the frame in just a moment. I wish him all the best of luck, as I do to all of you who have some trips planned here in the very near future. The Pride is headed out for some bluefin tuna, and the action has been pretty good. May not be big fish, but it's really good action. And here, as we move into December, it's pretty darn incredible. Don't forget, tonight, Sam De La Torre live here on the Friedman Adventures YouTube channel. And then Thursday, Danny Cadota will start his own show, and I'm so looking forward to that. I know Danny is going to have such great content for you every single week. This Saturday, we are planning on meeting over at Gallagher's once again, and we're going to see if we can't. And that gentleman just said hello. Hey, good luck to you. So he's on his way to go catch the first fish. This Saturday, we're trying to get over to Gallagher's staging again in La Mirada, California, to separate clothing, because we've just begun to take stuff down to Mexico. And I got to thank you all for your donations. It means a lot. We've got to transport another probably 6 or 7 different events that we'll be doing in Mexico, and we need your help to do that. So if you can make it on this Saturday, send Greg a text right there at that number. Send Greg a text, and then he'll get back to you and confirm the details. In case there's some reason why we can't do it Saturday, you can talk to Greg. Don't just show up. Talk to Greg, first of all, by sending him a text, and he'll get you all tuned up. All right, everybody, you know what time it is. It's a gorgeous, beautiful Tuesday morning in Southern California, and that means it's time for the morning briefing. Good morning, my friends. Oh, my God, is that good? Hey, good morning, everybody. It is truly great to be back with you. It's a gorgeous Tuesday morning, and I'm so happy you made a little time to spend with us here on the Friedman Adventures YouTube channel here on the Morning Briefing. There is some good stuff going on. If you still want to get out and get some great eating fish for a ceviche or poke or whatever it is you want to do for the Christmas holiday season, there is still time to do just that. You know, just on another subject in Thailand, I've been getting a lot of messages on WeChat from my friends in China. I'm talking mainland China. And there is some unrest going on there where people seem to be fed up with the CCP, and there's all kinds of small little protests, some of them getting bigger all the time. In fact, there is something right now called the blank paper revolution going on. So in other words, in China, if somebody holds up a piece of paper and it's got hashtags or it's got some grievance on it or something, it's going to get censored by the CCP in about 2 seconds. I mean, and then you're going to suffer some severe consequences, okay? Freedom of speech is not really a thing on mainland China. So they've started this thing called the blank paper revolution, where they just hold up a blank piece of paper. And the idea is, if I could tell you what you know I want to tell you, I would tell you. And they hold up a blank piece of paper, because how the heck are you going to censor that? So I just thought I'd drop that. And when I communicate with my friends in mainland, there's nothing written. You can't do that, or someone's going to get in severe trouble. So it's conversations on WeChat, and I'm praying for all those great people there. All right, let me take you, I don't know how I got into that. Let me take you south of the border and tell you that down there at Victor's, or I should say Blackfin Sport Fishing, where we had that incredible event on Saturday for the kids from an orphanage, it was really, really something. And Victor's wife, Victor, of course, runs Blackfin Sport Fishing on Punta Banda. His wife, Martha Garcia, she really worked her fingers to the bone to put on this event. And believe me, I've done events like this. I know how hard it is to get everything organized, to make sure everybody has enough food, to make sure everybody's happy, the music is playing, all the small details that make it such a spectacular day. I just wanted to take a second and say, Martha, mil gracias. Thank you so very much for providing those kids with such a memorable day. And thank you for inviting me and George Feldman to be a part of it. You did all the work. We were just there to witness it all, and it was truly beautiful. So thank you very, very much. Down in that neck of the woods, we're getting into fishing now. Good rock fishing going on, especially down to the south around the Soledad Bank. Guys out of Blackfin don't spare any fuel. They'll run as far as they have to run to get you some lings, bocaccio, reds, whitefish, and whatever other critters might be running around down in that neck of the woods. It's been excellent fishing, and we've got a week of gorgeous weather the forecast holds. And certainly if this is any indication this morning, all you got to do is look back there. It's going to be gorgeous. It's a beautiful day. So they are continuing to do some really, really good fishing. I talked to Junior, one of the guys there from Blackfin, about going down there and having him show me around some of his really good surf fishing spots. And I was talking to Frank Savino. Of course, Frank ran the Enterprise and so many other boats. Frank was at the event. Thank you, Frank. Always good to see you. Always out for these kind of things. But Frank and I, you know what we want to do? We want to go down there and have somebody take us out to Todos Santos Islands, the islands that dominate the horizon there just off of Ensenada, and we want to surf fish the island. I thought that would be a cool video and a lot of fun. So we got to do that, Frank. I know you're listening down there in beautiful Baja, California this morning. We've got to do that. But jumping on a ponga for sure is the best way to go. And it's not too early to think about booking for next year. So please reach out to the great people at Blackfin Sport Fishing. I mean, I love them because of how hard they fish and their fishing expertise, how nice they are when you get in with sashimi and so much more. But now that I see Martha and Victor and Junior and all the people who make Blackfin sport fishing so special, doing such great things in the community, I'm totally sold. Really, really beautiful stuff. All right, let's get you to this offshore tuna bite. And this latest 3-day trip on the new Loan wasn't bad at all. In fact, Eric Lee was on board, and Eric had double digits on the tuna. He said they weren't big fish, but I'll tell you, looked like 18 to 25 pound stuff, some a little bit bigger than that. They had one up over 100 pounds, but the vast majority of it was that smaller grade tuna. I mean, I hate to even say that because I come from an era when you caught a 12-pound bluefin tuna, you were like, yeah, right on, man, that's a cool fish. Really like that. And now we're at the point where, oh, it's under 100, you know, no big deal. I'm not at that point, okay? I mean, they had a great trip. Final trip on the new Loan out of Point Loma Sport Fishing this year. 67 bluefin tuna for 18 guys. And I don't know how it can get any better than that. What a magnificent finish to a great season. And the new Loan, they've been all over it all year long. Talk about guys with high work ethic, high fishing expertise, who are on it every single time. Sure, they miss once in a while, but it doesn't seem like that often. That is a boat you can take to the bank. It has been since I was a kid, and it remains that way. Just a great fishing trip. Now, they caught most of this out on the banks, Cortez, Tanner area, and they were fishing on the anchor, and they're fishing light line. So you know what that means. You pick whatever fluorocarbon you like. We like Opsin USA, www.opsinusa.com. I'm going to stick to my day job, I think. Anyway, put in FA at checkout, and you'll get a free gift and a love note from Greg Brown, the owner. Fished that. It was about 25-pound fluoro that was getting bit the best. Number 2 size hooks were working really, really well. And, of course, you know what I'm going to say, Brett Ender, choose a really good hot bait. That is so very important to your success. It makes all the difference in the world. I don't care if you have to stand there for a minute. I don't care if you have to wait for the deckhand to get another dipper and put it in there. Don't waste your time with a crappy bait. Get a really good hot bait. That'll make all the difference in the world. So really nice fishing. A lot of those fish out there, daytime fish. So fly line has been the best way to get it done. You can hook the bait in a variety of different ways, but I would talk to your crew members. Collar hook was working well. A butt hook bait is one of my favorite ways to get a bite. So talk to the crew. They're out there every single day. They see what's going on. There was also some night fish taken. There's still fish biting at night on those jigs. Knife jigs like 300 to 600 grams are the way to go, so keep that in mind. The Pride is out, taking off out of 22nd Street Landing. So in the coming days, we're going to get more reports on what is going on. Now, Joe Martinez, you know Joe. Maybe you don't know his lovely wife, Grace, but Grace, I love you. In fact, Grace yesterday said, when she was watching the morning briefing, "Hey, Joe, look, he forgot his hat." And she's right. I did forget my hat. I wasn't sure where it was. I think it was out in the car. So I've got my Daiwa hat back on for you, Grace. Anyway, Joe calls me yesterday and he says, "Hey, the Amigo's running a 1.75 day trip. Can you get what are the details on that?" And I said, I don't know what the details are. And then he's like, "Well, they're going on. I'm thinking about going." And Joe, he gets out there. He's going to catch a bunch of fish because talk about high level of expertise and a guy that shares his knowledge. That's why we love having him on all of our Friedman Adventures charters. But anyway, Joe's going through all this. And then finally Joe says, "Well, you're the one who said on the morning briefing the Amigo had a 1.75 day trip." And I'm like, oh my God. I meant to say the Pride. So please forgive me for that yesterday. And who knows, maybe the Amigo will be running a trip because Joe was ready to go. A couple of other guys called me and said, I'm going to jump on that Amigo trip. So anyway, I throw myself at your mercy. Forgive me for doing that. Nice fishing. Looks good out there. I bet the Pride comes up with a good score because, as I say, Sean Roberts and Michael Podvan, they are on it. Their work ethic is way up at the top, and their fishing expertise is really, really good. They work hard before that boat leaves the dock, getting intel, and then when they're out there, they pay attention to all the right stuff to get you a bite. So I'm guessing they're going to have a really good trip. You never know, though, because it has been a little bit inconsistent. And here, as we move into December shortly, it's amazing that we are blessed with such great fishing. You've got to love that. All right, down there at the islands, they're still, let me just single out San Nicolas Island right now. If you're thinking about a trip to Nick on one of the LA Orange County-based boats, do it. Great sheep's head fishing, wonderful whitefish, all kinds of bottom grabbers. You're going to go home with a sack full of fish if the weather is good. That's what you've got to watch. And we'll see what happens when we get toward the weekend when there's supposed to be some rain and some other stuff coming. But for right now, if anybody's running, they're going to Nick. That's being good. Down there, it's Todos Santos. There's been occasional yellowtail, some bonita, and rockfish there. At Coronado Island's good rockfish and bonita. Up there at Clemente, there's a few yellows, bonita, that kind of stuff. Good bonita at Catalina with rockfish for the most part. Santa Barbara Island has some yellows and good rockfish. And the Channel Islands continue to impress with great rockfishing. You better get on it because the season will close. When it does close, however, remember Colonette trips open up in San Diego. San Diego-based boats run that 120 miles down the Baja coast to catch copious amounts of delicious eating rockfish just for you. And every once in a while, they'll get a big old whack on the yellows also, right in the same zone. You're yo-yoing an iron, you might catch a big yellow, you might catch a big ling. It's really a fun place to fish. Colonette will be coming up in the very short future. And I know the Relentless, he runs a lot of trips down there. Of course, we just made that recent trip with the boys on the Relentless and had such a great time. I mean, that crew, awesome. And Mikey, the captain, fantastic. Relentless Colonette trips coming up very, very soon. Don't forget that. Coastal regions, we're mostly looking at shallow water rockfish. I don't see really any big exceptions to that. If a guy wanted to dedicate some time to bass fishing and, twilight trips can catch some sand bass and that kind of thing, you still have a chance at that. But mostly from the Mexican border all the way up, shallow water rockfish up in Morro Bay, they're catching lots of rockfish as usual up there in that neck of the woods. That's been good. In the surf, not bad. A little bit more barred perch starting to show up as water temperatures drop. And then also we are seeing some pretty good fishing for an occasional halibut taken on the Lucky Craft lures. So that is something else that you can spend time doing in the surf. And absolutely pristine and gorgeous conditions here in Surfside this morning and up and down the coast. You can definitely find some excellent fishing here surf fishing. And you know what? If you don't catch anything, it's just so darn beautiful. It's out of control. All right, there you have it. Don't forget, this Saturday, we'll be over in La Mirada, I think. You're going to check with Greg. There's his phone number one more time. Send him a text. Don't call him. Send him a text, and he'll get you all fixed up with regard to that. And then tonight, Sam De La Torre. Don't forget that. Sam's going to be joining us in a live show. Who knows? I mean, I know he's just in from the Royal Star. Had a great trip on board there. Incidentally, Polaris Supreme, great wahoo fishing, starting out their 9-day trip out of Seaforth Sport Fishing. I love that boat. It was Tommy Rothery's old boat. And Tommy, right here in my heart. I got a message from Tommy, I should say we corresponded on Thanksgiving. Always good to hear from the Riddler. and his family, lovely people. Blessed to have Tommy, and blessed to have him as a friend, and blessed with his friendship, that is for sure. So good hoo fishing going on. Skins are biting pretty good for the Supreme down there. All right, I forget where I was going with all this, but I do know one thing. I'm blessed to have your friendship. I would love you if you'd hit that like button. If you like these morning briefings, share it with a friend or 500, and also subscribe to the Friedman Adventures YouTube channel. That makes all the difference in the world. Once again, I can't thank you enough. The people at Bluefin, that was a really memorable day, as I say. When you go down and you do stuff for people in Mexico or Costa Rica, you know, I spent a year of my life in Costa Rica teaching the poor and goofing off with kids. Let's be honest about it. And same thing in Mexico for a couple years. You get way more out of it than you're able to give. You're able to give quite a bit, and hopefully you're able to change a kid's life. But more than that, those kids, they do so much for your spirit during this time of the year. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. All right, everybody, hang on. Let me grab this and say, I deeply appreciate all you do for Friedman Adventures. The morning briefing is in the books. And as always, I hope to see you really, really soon. Take care, my friends.